Hi, hello, and welcome to the Misadventures of the Mind podcast bonus episode. Yes, you heard me correctly. It's the bonus episode because last week you got an episode, this week you're getting an episode, and you know me, it's every 2 weeks for me. However, I thought, why not bless the people this year, the ending of the year, with a cute little bonus episode about a topic that's actually very, very common for the end of the year. And it's a short one, but it's a good one. It's a short and sweet type of bonus episode today. But hi, I'm your host, the clinical child and adolescent psychologist alias Kalik Nadal. You know me, you know my voice. If you don't, hi, welcome to the MOTM fam. Still workshopping our community name, but I'll get there eventually. You can expect an episode every 2 weeks on a Friday in the morning at some point. Usually, if it's delayed, it'll usually end up being later in the day or at night, but you will get an episode every 2 weeks, and that's on period. But this is a podcast that talks about everything mental health, talks about everything life related, talks about growing up, talks about, the scary parts of growing up and mental health and life in general. So, we dibble dabble in every type of topic that has to do with yourself and the world that we live in. But today's episode, today's misadventure of the mind is the one that convinces you that you need to say New Year, New Me. Yeah, you heard me. Everyone says it. Well, not everyone. Most people say it. It's a thing that almost goes hand in hand with the new year. But today we're going to talk about We're going to have a different format. It's going to be the same exact format, but a little bit differently. Because usually, I want to teach you and, tickle your brain. I want to challenge you. But today is the ultimate challenge. Today is a self-reflective type of episode. So, disclaimer, your edges will be snatched. And if they're not snatched, you might feel personally attacked. You'll feel it in your soul, in the guts and the pits of your stomach. And if you don't feel anything at all, well then, just enjoy the episode. The quote I have for you today is by Mary Shelley. The beginning is always today. I'll say it again. The beginning is always today. And you might recognize Mary Shelley. You might not recognize her either. However, just to drop a little factual information, she is the author, renowned author who wrote Frankenstein. Now, I know you know this book. I know you know it. You maybe not have read it. That's fine. I haven't read it either. However, I have researched about it. I've, looked up things about it because obviously there's a movie about it, very old. There are different adaptations and different types of subtext about this monster. And actually, not the monster, because it's actually called Frankenstein's monster. So Frankenstein is actually the doctor, in case you didn't know. So fun fact, Frankenstein is not the actual monster. It's the doctor, the scientist. But yeah, so Mary Shelley, she was very popular back then because first of all, it's a woman. And women back in the day, we had to fight. We had to fight for our right to honestly just live. So the fact that she is a renowned author right now in this day and age is kind of crazy. Also, fun fact, when she wrote the book, I think she was like 24 or something, 23, 25, one of those ages. But point is, she was in her early 20s writing a really fat book about a Frankenstein scientist who created a monster who wanted, and the villagers wanted to destroy or kill or whatever. Read the book. I'm sure you might find it very interesting. I think I'll also read it, to be honest. But anyway, that's not the point of today. The point of today, and the reason why I chose this quote, is because it says the beginning is always today. So you don't have to wait for a Monday. You don't have to wait for a new month, or dare I say a new year, like most of us do. We say, oh, this year is going to be my year. And then the year starts and then you kind of fall off. Why is that? Why do we fall off? Why do we say and expect so much of the new year, but then fail to follow through? The edge snatching has begun. Listen with precaution. That's all I'm saying. Listen with precaution. Because I've done it before as well. I say, yeah, this year is going to be my year. So many plans, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to achieve this and this. Gonna start working out first of the month, or first of the year, Gonna go to the gym. Gonna get my lifestyle right. Eat healthy. Work out. Read more. Keep up with my social circle, while also working, while also wanting to rest, while also doing this and this and that and the third. So what about creating this expectation or desire to start the new year as a quote unquote new person makes it difficult to uphold, makes it difficult to continue, makes it difficult to be consistent? That's just a question for yourself, for myself as well, but also think about it. Have you been in that area or in that headspace where you say, this is the year that's going to be my year. I'm going to do all of these things, and you list off a bunch of these things, but then come March or even February and you haven't really kept up with the things that you said that you were going to do. Why is that? I want to talk about the origin actually of New Year, New Me, because I thought that it was interesting. So the origin of New Year, New Me, which is a very common phrase, as I said, and believe it or not, it's been around for nearly a decade. Do you know what it means to have a catchphrase that is known by everyone, or I think most people in the world, and they know exactly what you mean when you say it? New Year, New Me. It started actually in 2014 on Twitter, of all places. I mean, that's to be expected, to be honest. But it started in Twitter. It was kind of difficult to find this origin of the catchphrase, because it's just, people just use it and nobody really knows where it comes from. However, deep diving on the interwebs, as I be doing, I found this thread where it explained where it came from, and it actually started from a one Twitter user, can't remember their name, but they created this meme where it said, eyes rolling, it's a person eye rolling picture, and it says, when I hear people say New Year, New Me, ugh. And honestly, same. I mean, me 10 years ago definitely would have subscribed to saying New Year, New Me. But 2023 going into 2024, Ali, is not saying that at all. And I'll tell you why. Reference to the title of the episode, and it's called The Ultimate Loss. Pause right there for dramatic effect. So the ultimate loss, why the ultimate loss? And I'll explain my point of view. Maybe you have a different one. Very curious to hear about it, of course. But my view on why I titled this episode The Ultimate Loss in reference to the phrase New Year, New Me is because I feel like every time someone says new year, new me, it makes my brain think of the philosophical term or concept, which is tabula rasa, and it basically means a new slate. It means that you're like a blank page. You're starting from fresh. You're starting from scratch. You have no prior information to the point in which you decided to quote unquote start anew. And the reason why I thought about that is because you basically declare, when you say new year, new me, as you removing all prior information, all prior knowledge, all prior feelings maybe that you had, that you've accumulated over past years, to start fresh. Maybe, like I said in the previous episode, if you haven't checked it out yet, give it a listen, because biased answer, I think is a pretty good one. In that episode, we talked about having a bad year. So maybe because you had a bad year or bad couple of years, or let's not say bad, let's say unsatisfactory. Maybe you've had a year where you wanted to achieve certain things, you wanted to do certain things, but it didn't really work out. So in your mind, you felt like it's a year that you kind of want to forget. And that is where I want to stand for a little while, because I feel like this is a default setting on maybe not all, but most people, where a bad experience is always one that they want to forget, is one that they want to remove from their memory. They want to remove it from existence even, which isn't really possible, of course, realistically. However, mentally, you can suppress your memories in a way that you almost forget that the experience even happened or the situation even happened, which is a testament to how powerful your mind actually is. But we're not going to get into that because that's a whole conversation for another day. But to strengthen my point, it is something that I felt like I should bring up. And, that power, that ability to suppress unsatisfactory experiences is something that we should be aware of, that we should take into account, because it is something that also fuels that desire for a new you, a new version of yourself. And don't get me wrong, growing and developing is amazing. You becoming a better, newer version of yourself is wonderful. Strive for that, absolutely, because I do it on a daily. However, where it gets tricky is if you want to erase past versions of yourself. And I'll tell you why. So I love to speak in analogies. I love to make things visually clear. And let's say you have... Actually, let me get an example of a movie. One of my favorite movies. So if you don't know, I'm a horror fanatic. I love horror movies. I love everything horror. So one of my favorites is Poltergeist. Now, the first Poltergeist came out in 1982. That's the very first version of the Poltergeist. Thereafter, there was one in 1986, I believe, and one in 1988. Mind you, I've seen all of it. Like I said, horror movie fanatic. Poltergeist is truly a classic. There's the really old one, 1982 version, and then they decided, hey, this version is kind of dated, it's kind of played out. We're going to make a new one. We're going to make a reimagined version of the Poltergeist. They said in 2015, new year, new me. However, how would they know where to begin if they didn't have the older version? How would they improve it? How would they make it better? How would they be able to reimagine something that wasn't even imagined in the first place? The prefix re means again. It means to do something again. You imagine it again. You reintroduce yourself. I introduce myself again. So if you don't have something that already existed, if you don't have a skeleton for a reimagining or a skeleton for a new version, how, pray tell, would you be able to create this new version? So, in that, again, to come back to the topic, the ultimate loss, the loss that you're losing ultimately is the older versions of yourself, the past knowledge that you had. And yes, I understand that the experiences were maybe painful, maybe they were something that you did not really expect. And I get it. However, those experiences, those losses, that pain that you felt, the disappointment even, those are things that give you strength today to do better, to kind of be able to conquer the new difficult versions of maybe the same experience or new experiences in general. However, because of your past, because of the things that you've learned, you're able now to conquer it with a newfound strength that you've acquired over the years, with newfound knowledge that you've also acquired, maybe not just from the experience, but also from the people around you. Now, taking from my own life, my own experiences, I've lost people figuratively and literally over the course of time. And, in the moment, it was very tough. It was very difficult to overcome. However, with those experiences, I feel like I am able to deal with losses a little bit better. I have a different perspective on what it means to lose something or someone. I have a new understanding as well for my own strength, and I think that that is the point that I'm also trying to make. You're stronger than you think. You're stronger than the experience thinks of you. You are capable. You're capable of achieving stuff today, tomorrow, in a new month, in a new year, but you also have to believe in yourself. You can't lose your past self and then become a newer version of yourself without taking into account the trials and tribulations that you've had to experience. I know it's a lot. It's a lot that I just dropped on you, and I get it. If you need to pause this episode and, think about it, reflect on it, maybe you can, run it back, do so, take it minute by minute, second by second. There's no rush. I'm here. You can listen to me. You can pause and come back. It's fine. But the point still stands. The new year doesn't necessarily mean that you should try to forget or suppress the current year, or past years, or past versions of yourself, past unsatisfied experiences, because they shape you. They shape all of us. They shape how we think, how we act. Granted, not all experiences shape us in a constructive, functional way, but they shape us nevertheless. And it is our task actually to reflect on the type of shape that we've adopted, Like maybe past experiences made you into a person who is distrusting, or a person who is maybe contrastingly more trusting because of past experiences. It depends. It takes time to reflect. It takes effort to stop and think about the past experiences and how they affected you and your current perspective, your current state of mind. So don't succumb to the ultimate loss. It's a new year, but it's also a new day tomorrow. It's a new hour later after you listen to this episode. It's always gonna be a new experience. And today, I actually have, instead of an affirmation, I found I guess you can say a quote. It's not really a quote, but it is something that someone a little famous said. You might know him. Short little kid, kind of bald, wears a yellow sweater and pretty sure it's some brown pants. I'm not sure. Could be black. From my memory, I feel like it's black, but it could be the Mandela effect. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's really cool. But yeah, so if you haven't guessed who it is, it's Charlie Brown. Also very old character. I'm not sure if he's still around to this day, but back in my day and definitely in my parents' day, he was kind of like the cool kid on the block with all of his friends, and also Snoopy. I know you know who Snoopy is, so Charlie Brown is associated with Snoopy. But what he said, and I felt like it is a perfect way to end this episode, because this is your takeaway message, not an affirmation, but a takeaway message for yourself, something to reflect on, but also something to remember when you're going into the new year. And what he said is as followed. So this is Charlie Brown talking to his friend Peppermint Patty. If you're not familiar, it's the one with the green, like, striped shirt, kinda, with brown hair and always wears sandals. But Charlie says to her, "You know how I always dread the whole year? Well, this time I'm only going to dread one day at a time." And I thought that was the best way to tackle a whole year, to tackle the new year. Instead of saying new year, new me, we say, I'll only dread one day at a time. Because then you're also making the year bite-sized. You're making it bearable. You're making it possible to see the good things that happen. Instead of trying to see it as a whole, you see it in smaller size, a smaller scale, actually. And I think personally that's the best way to do it. You take it one step at a time. You take it one day at a time. So if you do feel like you want to become a newer version of yourself, don't wait for the new year. You can start today. Like, to refer back to the quote by Mary Shelley, the beginning is always today. You can always start today. You can start whenever you feel like you want to start. If you feel like you want to start in the middle of the week, or you feel like you're more of a nighttime person, start at night. Nobody says that you have to start bright and early on a Monday, in a new month, or in a new year. You can start today. Today is Thursday. You know what I'm going to start doing today? Actually, I already started doing it since last week, I believe. And that's actually, I'm lying. I started it previously, like in a couple of months ago, since maybe October or something. But then I thought to myself earlier this month, why not keep it consistent? And that's reading, because I love reading. I love books. For the past maybe couple of months, even couple of years, I haven't been keeping up with my reading. And I recently found some really interesting books that I'm really excited to read. Currently reading The Luminaries by Susan something. And it's a fantasy book, nonfiction or fiction. And it's just so interesting and captivating. I haven't finished it yet, but the way how the story is progressing, I know it's going to be a great read. And then for Christmas, also, I got 2 new books that I'm also really, really excited to read. One is called Rock, Paper, Scissors, and the other is called The Silent Wife. I can't remember the author from either books, but I mean, you can look it up. Rock, Paper, Scissors, and The Silent Wife. I'm just really excited. So, that's what I'm gonna be consistent with now until the end of the year, but also going into the new year. So that is, I guess, in a sense, if you need something to call it, if you need to label it, if you need a title for it, I guess that's the new quote unquote me that is going to be present in the new year. And aside from that, I also want to focus or refocus on my activity, my exercise regime, my workout plan, because I was really into it, and then again also kind of like fell off. And that's not really to blame on anything specific. It's just it wasn't really something that I was thinking about. It wasn't really a priority, even though I know that in the back of my head, I do prioritize it. But with all of that being said, that is my takeaway message for you today. And I think, do I still want to give an affirmation? Because I feel like you need that extra boost, that extra reminder that you can do it. You can start today. So the really, really short affirmation I have for you today is, I am manifesting my dream life. I am manifesting my dream life. And with that, I want to thank you once again, truly, for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope that it tickled your brain. And, maybe it made you think about the new year or the new version of yourself a little bit differently. And if it did, share it, talk about it, discuss it with your friends, family, followers, people on the street, if you're that type of person. And if you're not, don't. Stranger danger. But without rambling anymore, I hope to inform you in another episode. Okay, thanks, bye, and Happy New Year!